You guys have been touring around the world since 1980. I mean, for many years since 1980. Can you share with us any of your most memorable experiences during the period?
Gosh, there's lots. Hi, I'm Steve, by the way. How are you? All right?
Hello, Steve.
Hello. You look incredibly like Tyson.
Oh, that's
Anyway, yeah, so we've had a lot of memorable occasions throughout the Bootleg Beatles career. To mention a few, we were lucky enough to play at Buckingham Palace during one of the Queen's Jubilees. We were lucky enough to play at the Royal Albert Hall, which we do most years, and also Glastonbury, which is a big festival over in the UK of live music, and it's always a joy to play such a thing like that. But to be fair, we always have a fantastic time whenever we come to the Philippines. We really look forward to it. We get treated better here than anywhere we've ever been. So I've got to say, guys, you're amazing. Thanks for having us again. It's great.
right. Yes, you know, when I started rock and roll music, I never thought we'd be coming to the Philippines to rock out, but here we are, you know, it's a fantastic trip. They treat us so well, you know, the fans, obviously we've played in front of a lot of crowds, you know, but when you look at the fans out here, they really go nuts, you know, it's absolutely mind-blowing, you know, you think you're actually, you know, them, really. They treat us very well here. I wish we
Like
could
them.
stay longer, you know. I understand you've got a very large mall as well.
Yeah. Not mall.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was just exactly what Stephen Tyson said. You know, this is one of our favourite places to come. Of all the great things we've done over the years, this is one, you know, the one that we love to do, you know, the most. It's a great place, great fans, great gigs, always has been.
Okay, pretty cool. Yeah. They've said it all.
Okay, maybe you can answer this. I mean, I know you guys are loving your stay here, but maybe you can answer this. How do you find the Philippine crowd?
Like the boys have said before, the Philippine crowds are amazing. They're an amazing group of people. The audiences are fantastic. In fact, they're probably the best of the whole lot, aren't they? What do you say?
Absolutely great, yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, people from the Philippines are just incredibly kind and wonderful people anyway. But when we get to perform in front of you guys, you know, you guys, you get into it and you really enjoy it, love it so much, and that kind of spurs us on, because when we see what's coming back from you guys, you know, that sort of makes us happy, and we, you know, give as much as we can give.
You mentioned a while ago when you started rock and roll, right? He did mention that. Now, but I was kind of curious. What really got you into Beatles music?
Yeah, you know, I was a boy, about 7 or 8 years old, and was my old man, was my father, you know, because he was alive for that time, wasn't he? So to listen to the Beatles at a young age, I really connected personally with John, but just all of their songs, and started just going to karaoke. We all love a karaoke session, and singing, and, you know, just that, something about the sound, something about the look, everything about them really inspired me to just want to be a musician, you know. And I think anybody that listened to the Beatles and wasn't inspired to, I don't know, at least continue listening to them, I don't know, they have that effect on a lot of people, so I don't think I'm alone there. But I got really lucky with happening to fall into this kind of career. But incredibly inspiring, just the best songwriters of all time. And,
It's going.
that's my time. Time's up there, folks.
You do.
All right, probably they want to listen to your heart then. Don't.
Right, okay, so hello. For me personally, the biggest challenge for me is to play left-handed, because I'm not left-handed.
You're not?
I'm not. No,
Did you know this?
I'm not. I'm a right-handed guitar player. I would normally play guitar the same way as the other guys, but sort of learned to play the bass the other way around, because it looked wrong to be Paul McCartney and right-handed. Obviously he's left-handed, so for me that's the biggest challenge, playing the wrong way around. That's huge, but yeah, I think it helps if you have a little bit of a look of the guys, you know, because it does help convince the audience that you're kind of looking at the real thing. Obviously everyone knows that you're not the real thing, and we're also very aware of that, but if you've got a little bit of a look of the person that you're performing as on stage, I think that does lend a big hand. What do you say, fellas?
I would agree with that, you know. Obviously, we encourage people in the intermission to use the lobby for, you know, imbibing, and I think the more drinks you've had, the better we look as well.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
No, obviously, getting into character is something that's very fun. You know, I mean, we're all actors portraying someone else, so we have to really pretend that we are them before we go on stage. So we'll warm up, start talking like them before we go on, about 30 minutes.
You know, you don't hear that really often, you see. Every time we say, hey, you know, are you ready, George? And he'll say,
I say no, I'm not ready. Give me another half an hour. But I think for me, the best part of the job is definitely performing. That's where you get the, you know, your feedback from all the hard work that you put in. You know, there's a lot that goes into us. You know, looking like this before we go on. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. And I suppose the fun is all those years of watching and listening to the Beatles to be able to recreate, you know, a Beatles show, and convincing people, like Tyson said, that they're watching the Beatles, you know, for 2 hours. So the best part is definitely playing, but the hard work is the practice and the studying and the mimicking. There's a lot that goes into it. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes. Can you hear me? Is this on?
it's off.
Which one, that one?
Have you broken?
No, they don't like me
Battery's
talking.
gone.
I think, I mean, we've all been sort of learning how to do this for many, many years, and it's good to put it all into practice when we do it eventually. We've known each other for a long, long time, so we know we can play with each other, you know, really, really well. And yes, and we get to sort of dress up. It takes us about as long to get ready for the shows as it is to actually do the shows. So so we're in character for quite a long time, and we can sort of, you know, get into character quite well. I don't think there's much more to add to that one, is there?
No, not really.
Hope that's answered your question.
Well, we met on a dating app last week.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well, actually, we weren't like college mates or anything like that, but we're all huge fans of the Beatles. I mean, I dare say there's many a fan of the Beatles all the way around the world, but we are huge fans of the Beatles, and all being musicians, it just felt very natural to do a tribute to, which, I mean, I speak for myself, but probably for the other guys as well. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say that probably out of the four of us, the Beatles is our most favourite group that we all, it's at the top of our list. So in all, to be able to go out and perform that music live on stage to people, it's just a joy. It's just a great.
Absolutely. But
It's a joy.
we all had to audition to get in this band, essentially. So some of us knew each other from back in the day, but essentially the band's been going since 1980. So we all auditioned. I'm the newest member. You're the second newest member, right? No, you're the second newest member.
I think so.
Anyway, they've all been doing it for the longest. This is my 4th year. You've been going 11 years, 10 years.
Yeah, 10 or 11.
So yeah, so we've grown very close.
Say something.
George.
Yeah, I mean, I've forgotten what the question was. I was listening to Tyson's answer intently. But yeah, the band started in 1980, and obviously the original members now manage the group, so they're our managers now. And we've been doing it, like Tyson said, for about 10 years, roughly, this lineup. So they keep a very close eye on what we do, running the band, and making sure that, we're doing the Beatles justice, and we're doing the Bootleg Beatles justice, because they started it, they've got to keep, there's a certain level of, we don't use these on stage, that's for sure. We don't use these microphones. But yeah, so it's been on a long time, and we've not been here for what, 2 years, 2.5 years?
3 years.
3 years, so we want to come back and give the best show since 3 years, because this is one of our favourite places, and we want to do the Philippine people justice as well. You know, give them a good night. That's all right, Timmy. Yeah. Yeah.
It's very difficult to choose which songs to perform, because although you do get sort of fans that are immersed in the Beatles and love them so much, you also get fans that are slightly more casual. They know a few of the songs, but they don't know, they wouldn't know, for instance, a B-side to a single record or maybe an album track. So you have to kind of take that into consideration when choosing a set list. So what we try to do is we try to choose a set list which is catering for each and every fan as much as possible, if that is even possible. We try to do a staple of big hits that even the more casual fan would recognise and know and be able to sing along to. And then also we'll put a slight curveball in there, maybe a B-side or a slightly more quirky song, so even the most fastidious fan would appreciate that. So it is very tricky, wouldn't you say?
It's very tricky. What song would you like to hear? I mean,
What's your favourite song?
The one with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
The one.
The one with the little help for my friends.
The one. Yes.
The thing is, you see,
Ringo was the vocalist. Yeah.
with a little help from my friends. We might sing that one, I'm not sure. The thing is, whenever we play, somebody always comes up to us after the show and says, well, you didn't play Sgt. Pepper, or you didn't play some other song. And it's like, well, it's really difficult to decide what you leave in and what you take out, because you can't take out, there are some songs you just can't take out. You can't take out She Loves You. You can't take out Hey Jude. And then Hard Day's Night, I mean, it's hard to do a show without that one. I mean, there are so many songs that you have to do that there's always going to be some left out. And
Exactly.
someone's always going to be disappointed.
So
Right.
70% of the set are going to be hits, and then we have another 30% that we like to play the B-sides or something like that. And so every year we'll get together and learn new songs, or learn different songs, practice different songs. We sprinkle in so that every time you come back to see us, we have a different setup, different new songs, and that way it's a refreshing show every time. Maybe new eras we'll highlight. Last year we did Let It Be. Next year we're going to be doing Please Please Me, highlighting certain albums so that, we have a bit of variety there, so that the returning customers see a new show.
Which is kind of why we're dressed in this outfit. This is the rooftop. So that's a giveaway.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
So
About
we're
We're going to do a little quiz there.
Sadly, no. We've come close many times. I mean, just recently we were performing at Glastonbury, the music festival I mentioned earlier, and Sir Paul McCartney was playing the night before, and we was playing the following day. So we couldn't get there the day before and watch his show and meeting. Instead, we had to arrive the day after, and by which time he'd already left. So there's been so many close encounters, but we've never actually rubbed shoulders with the originals. The old lineup in the past, which was the original lineup that started in 1980, those guys were lucky enough to meet some of the Beatles. I know they met Paul McCartney. I know they met George Harrison. They also met Sir George Martin, who obviously was the Beatles producer. But the great little quote from George Harrison when he was speaking to Bootleg George, who was the original George in the band. George said to Bootleg George, "Who is the bootleg Brian Epstein? Because he's got all the money." Nice little quote.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What makes them special for you?
Well, that's the magic question, isn't it? Nobody seems to know. But those four lads, something about them that made them what they are, but
Well,
nobody knows what that magic
What
is.
is it special to you?
Nobody knows. To me, it's just them, you know, such vast music, such a short space of time. You know, anything they did, everybody copied. And by the time people had copied it, they were moving on to something else, you know. Whether it's the music, the fashions, or, you know, everything they did. It's, nobody knows the answer to that question, even me.
I mean, yeah, I played John, so I was really connected with John. What made John special was his personality, his quirky sense of humor. I really connected with that. I always thought, wow, he's just like me, because I kind of was always the class clown, you know, in school and stuff. And so I really resonated with his vibe, and then to find out that, you know, a lot of my favorite songs were his and Paul's, you know, or that he sang on or whatever. Just really, I just resonated with that, you know. So everything about, yeah, you know, how do you deny it? Right? Yeah.
Do you want to go, Ring?
Yeah, it's just consistently good songs, you know, over and over again. There's not many bad Beatles songs. I can't think of any really bad ones at all. There's a few that maybe not as popular as others, but they're all really, really good. So there's about 200 really, really good songs. I think that's probably the best thing about them, really. The songs are always really, really good. Well, and also they knew each other from a very early age as well, so they could work with each other in a way that a lot of other bands couldn't. The sound of their voices together was one sound. You know, it wasn't like three different sounds. They learned how to sing so that it was just one sound, and they were very, very tied together. I think that also helped as well.
Well, I would say probably my affinity with Paul. Obviously, I became aware of the Beatles through my father's record collection, as probably most people did who are here today. You know, they stumbled upon the Beatles accidentally. And out of the four of them, having watched footage of him performing and playing, I felt that when I performed on stage, I performed similarly to him. I had similar mic technique, I had similar movements on stage. And as I got more and more into the Beatles, I learned that we were born in the same month. So I just naturally feel quite akin to him. I think Paul is born on the 18th of June, where I'm born on the 1st of June. So we share the same birth sign, and it just feels very natural to imitate him, and I feel very sort of close to him with regards to that. You know, similarities in personality, maybe, I don't know. I hope that's answered your question. Who knows?
You know, I really enjoyed Across the Universe when that came out. I thought it was going to be a bit cringe, but they did a really good job. It's really hard to cover a Beatles song, right? Because it is a bit of a risk, and there's so many covers that just will not be as good as the Beatles. I think one of the famous covers that is great is Joe Cocker's Little Help from My Friend, which is actually an amazing version, right? So we can agree on that. But most of the time, it's very much a huge risk, because you're just going to fall on your face if you try to cover a Beatles song. Now, with Across the Universe, I thought they did a really good job of making a modern version of that. Now, with Yesterday, I think it was a really cute idea. Now, this is just personally my opinion, and the rest of the guys can speak about it. But yeah, I watched it. I thought there were some cute moments, but it was a bit cringe for me personally, because it's too close to home, right? So the idea that if a songwriter today, who, you know, is okay, just kind of starts playing songs. I really liked the main actor. I love him, but, you know, in no world would anyone react that way. You know what I mean? The songs do stand up for themselves, but when they're presented like that. Anyway, so personally, Yesterday, I thought it's good. It's good that it's bringing Beatle attention, because that's great for obviously just spreading the word about the Beatles. It was a nice little push in popularity. And I support it as a whole. Like, I would prefer to come out as opposed to never seeing the light of day, but, you know, it's a bit, yeah, it's a little too cringe. Now, Peter Jackson's Let It Be, obviously, was a tremendous job. You know, I would love to see a biopic film of the Beatles where they did it really well. I would love that. Yeah, I've yet to see that. I mean, there's a couple of good ones out there.
Yeah.
Now the Let It Be show was fantastic. It was obviously footage of the Beatles, and I thought that was so incredibly heartwarming to see them getting along so well in their last moments together, essentially. When it was kind of assumed that they didn't really get along at that time. Nobody thought they would be in such great spirits the whole time. I mean, 95% of the time. They were just so close, and to see everybody in such great spirits was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Me personally, I think the Yesterday film, I probably agree with you. I thought the Yesterday film was, the idea of it was clever. I thought it was a very clever idea. And of course, as Tyson said, the music speaks for itself. So the music's always you're always gonna win with the music. Yeah, maybe it was a little bit silly, but I mean, does that really matter? I guess I wouldn't say it does. I suppose from a Beatle tribute band point of view, yeah, it's probably a little bit silly, but I enjoyed it all the same. I thought it was great. The Get Back Peter Jackson film was just incredible. Have you all seen it, by the way? Has all of you seen it?
That's not everybody. I don't see it. Show hands.
If you haven't seen it, you must watch this thing. It's just absolutely incredible. I mean, the one thing that I found fascinating about the film, I mean, obviously, there's a wealth of information in there for people like us that have to perform that on stage, so you can kind of see them doing it, which you've never had that luxury for years. What I loved was the fact that it's all been cleaned up and it's so crisp and sharp when you watch it. It looks like it was filmed yesterday. Pardon the pun. It looks like it was filmed, just the other day. You can't believe that that's sort of, I don't know, 60 years ago or whatever. It's just incredible to see that amount of detail and the way that it came over. And then watching the guys as they, we know what the songs are going to be. We've got the luxury of knowing what songs they released. But at the time of the filming of the film, they weren't written. And you can see them stumbling upon their ideas as these songs. I found myself willing them on. I was, oh, come on, you're nearly there. You've nearly got it. It was just incredible. It was just amazing to see. I thought it was a superb job. Can you add anything, boys?
Basically, Yesterday was rubbish, and Get Back was brilliant, wasn't it?
Could you dress that up a little?
But yeah, basically it was okay, But Get Back was fantastic, If they could find more footage like that from the early days, or the middle parts of the career, and clean that up as well, because there's bound to be thousands of people have got things hidden in lofts, and there must be some other footage that's never been seen that can be cleaned up and played to people like us and you and everybody who loves the Beatles. Fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't mind Yesterday. I thought it was okay because I think
you would say that.
From my yeah, I mean I took the kids to see it and we all enjoyed it. I think the thing we take it very, very seriously. And we're dressed up here on stage. We take it really seriously, but it's also we don't own it. We don't own it, and if somebody wants to make a film that's fun and jokey, then that's fine as well. That's just another way of looking. But the good thing about it for us was that it brought Beatles music back into people's consciousness again. And put it at the front of their minds, and so of course people wanted to come and see us then. As for the Peter Jackson film, it's an amazing film. What I liked about it most was that all these years since that happened, people have said, oh, John said this to George, George said that to Paul, and Paul said this to, all written in books or in magazines and legend and hearsay, and we actually got to see it happening first time. That was the good thing. It put a lot of rumours to bed and ended a lot of speculation about what happened, so we could see what really happened. And that's why I enjoyed it anyway.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Any more questions?
Mm-hmm.
Mine, I would say, was This Boy. I saw footage of this boy and I was like, what is this? 3-part harmony, that video of them, that black and white video of them all around, together. You know the one. Yeah. I think they're lip syncing because it's pre-recording, but it's just so good,
Mine's early as well, Twist and Shout.
Yeah.
That's one of my
Yeah.
first ones, mainly because of John's voice on that one.
Yeah.
Sensational voice.
Thank you.
The early stuff. What about you?
It was always Help for me. Help always stuck out when I heard that, long before I picked up a guitar. Help, just from that, the intro, everything about it, it's just a kick in the face, it's a great song. Again, the harmonies, the guitar, everything, the Beatles, Help, that's the one.
How I discovered the Beatles was in my father's record collection. And it was one day when my parents were out and I snuck into the best room that you weren't allowed to go in as a child. And, put my dad's record player on. I was going through all the records and putting different things on. And I stumbled upon this album that was called The Beatles 20 Greatest Hits. Now, I don't think it was actually a Beatles album, but it was a compilation that some company put together. And when you pulled out the inlay, it was kind of like a montage of the Beatles all at different points in their career. Some pictures where they've got the mop tops and some with the long hair and the beards and Sgt. Pepper, all different pictures. So it wasn't really a song that captured me. I was first captured by these pictures of all these guys looking so incredibly different. So, and then I was trying to pick out, like seeing Paul in the sort of collarless suit and then trying to find him in the long-haired one or the Sgt. Pepper. And that just fascinated me. And then I put the album on, and the first song was Love Me Do. And I listened to Love Me Do, and I was just taken back by that song. I just thought, wow, this is so catchy. I love that song. And then it went to the next song, which was probably From Me to You or Please Please Me. And I thought, God, that song is so catchy. I really love that song. And then I went to the next one and it was like, oh my God, that is so catchy. And I just couldn't stop listening to this album. But it wasn't necessarily a song that captured my imagination at the beginning. It was this album cover that drew me into them. And then after that, I just couldn't get enough of that music. And then I tried to match the pictures with what songs they were singing at the time, imagining in my head, did they look like that while they were singing that song? And it, so it wasn't so much one song, it was just a mix of the songs. And after that album, I just could not get enough of it. But that's good for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and it looks like that's going to be our final question. So we're going to use this time, for all of you guys to invite all of your Filipino fans to your upcoming show.
Yes, please. I've got a question for you. Are you all coming along?
Hey! Well, thank you so much for this fantastic press interview. You've all been lovely. Thank you for your precious questions. We hope we'll see you all there at the show, and we're in for a treat. It's going to be fun, We're going to be doing a few costume changes, and you'll definitely recognize these suits.
So come along. You'll enjoy it. It's going to be a great night of lots and lots and lots and lots of Beatles songs.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us. It's been fantastic. Thank you for our host.
All right, give a big round of applause. Well, we have now come to the end of our program, and once again, on behalf of Concert Republic, thank you very much for attending this afternoon's press conference. We really appreciate your help and support in the promotion of the upcoming show. Ladies and gents, the Bootleg Beatles Live in Manila 2022, which will be held at the PICC Plenary Hall on Sunday, October 30th at 8 p.m. Have a great day, and see you guys at your show.